What up, y'all? I'd like to welcome y'all back to Humble City Real. The show I talk about things that I like, things I don't like, things I know, things I think I know, whatever else happened to cross my mind. As always, I'm inviting you to join this ride and go ahead and subscribe. Like the video if you like it. Hit the like button if you don't like it. Leave a comment. Definitely tell me why you liked it. Tell me why you didn't like it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the show. All right. As I said in my last video, here we are, Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off the Vaccine Chronicles 3. What pretty much brought me back to do a Vaccine Chronicles 3. If you go back to the first two videos, I was just shooting out different things that I was just observing. I was just observing a lot of stuff, from different things they were doing to convince people to get the vaccine, from contests to lotteries and things of that such, to vaccine passport type issues. Things started occurring, from I would say not from out of nowhere, but I was already talking about some of these things, or hinting towards some of these things. There's restaurants that are out here now just going ahead and if you're not vaccinated, you won't be able to come to that restaurant, which leads me to believe that's they definitely reached out and received some of those financial benefits from the government, at least, because as a business, you want to minimize what you ostracize from your establishment. So that's a big move, even with the people that are pro vaccination, and they're happy about that and they would go. But when you start to do that, you would have to understand that you are cutting your money in half. So then I said, okay, if you're just more concerned about safety, big ups to you. That's good. That's good. That you're willing to sacrifice, your financial gains for the safety of others. You rarely see that in business, so I kind of find it kind of hard to believe, to which leads me to say that you have been greatly stimulated by the government in order for you to set forth certain standards for your establishment. You had during I would say over the last couple of months, I want to say you had a few people, you had a lot of people speak out for both sides. One of the things when people speak of these things and people think conspiracy and all this stuff, or the people who are considered anti-vaxxers, for whatever they say, is always put into that conspiracy column, and those who are pro are, they pretty much almost like head of the medical class type, So it's kind of interesting when you hear some of these takes. So it's like this particular situation, how it has us standing where it's on opposite sides, it's kind of interesting because, I posed that question in, I believe, I'm not sure if it was part 1 or part 2, what, as far as the taking sides, or the divide of the family, auntie don't want to get the vaccine, uncle do want to get the vaccine. And I can't say I'm happy that, from what I've seen, amongst, different groups, families, friends, and so forth, and, me witnessing it from other people doing what they do with their families, that they're holding it together. The entertainment part of the world, the social part of the world, they definitely push separation. Definitely pushing separation. And, that's the last thing that we need, one of the things that, that kind of, bothers me about it is that, when it's presented in a pro context, well, you're not a doctor, so this is that, and this is why you should, and this is why you should. And it's like, yes, and you're not a doctor either. But like I said, when you're pro, then you pretty much almost got a medical degree of some sort. When you're anti, then it's viewed as, oh, you went to some Google page and someone just made that up, and to the point where you see on social media anything that's posted with COVID, speaking of COVID, making a joke about COVID, hell, in some cases saying something positive about vaccines or whatever things and methods to take to do deal with COVID. It has a little disclaimer under there, telling you to verify, or this ain't verified, or whatever the case. I never really paid attention or clicked on that part when anybody posted it, doesn't post anything about COVID, because it's all it's all in the eye of the beholder. So it's like, if I see it, it makes sense, I'll look into it. If it don't, maybe I'll come back around to it later. Maybe it is something that's important. Some of the stuff just be jokes, so you see it, you laugh. Some of it just be highly opinion based. But the fact that the world is almost positioned, they're making people want to fall on one side and not respect the fact that there is an in-between side. Everybody who has not chosen to get the vaccine is not anti-vaccine, right? Some are. What percentage you want to give it, hell, I don't know. But some are and some are not. Some are just at a point in their life where they're just figuring like they're at a space where, from what they have seen or what they have researched, that I just don't feel that I need it. And you can float in between those spaces. Sometimes you might come across information that may put you in a space of like, hell no, I'm not getting it. And sometimes you might be in a space where you just might. And I feel like that's almost for everybody that is considered to be anti-vaccination. But like I said, and I think that was in part 2, I posed the question, for those who are on the fence or truly against it, what would it take for you to get it? What would someone have to offer you, or what would have to be taken away from you? Back against the wall, who knows? What would it take? This whole COVID situation, I liken it to religion. When it comes to religion, people will ask, hey, what's your religion? And, at a time, when I was like a kid, they was asking me when I was 10, 11, 12, something like that, born Baptist, Baptist, whatnot. And as I got older and, became a man and started, making certain decisions, making moves, I went off and, went off into Islam. And as I got older, I did more research, more information started to come available for me. And, eventually to where I stand right now today, you ask me, I just tell people I'm a truth and knowledge seeker. I don't subscribe to any religion. It's a truth and knowledge seeker who believes and understands very well that there is a higher power. I know that. Whether you want to call it God, Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call Jehovah, I know there's a higher power. Yahweh, all that. I know there's a higher power. And one of the things that, definitely as we were coming up, and, of course this was during times where, when I was younger, information was somewhat limited, it was there, but it's definitely nowhere near how information is just there now, to where it's almost a overload of information to where we got now. So it's kind of all over the place. I believe that's part of another design, another agenda as far as, overflow of information, but say that for a whole nother video. One of the things I noticed definitely as, a young black man coming up and, and finding myself and then finding my spirituality, was, the discontent for finding my spirituality, for exploring other avenues, taking on different practices. One of the best examples I would use, whereas, a few of us, like my brother, cousin, and a few other cousins at the time, we all had taken our, journey towards Islam. Some before others, some afterwards, and as it goes, just as an example, we understand part of the diet, no pork products, right? And one of the things I can recall as we coming up, of course, going to family functions, and anybody know my family, we definitely was big on the functions. We still kind of big on them. We a little older people, kind of a little bit more spread it out, but we always come together and throw down, right? So with that being said, we would have, the food, I would come over, say I'll just use myself. I would come over to one of my auntie's house, and I know my diet, so, and I understand how, meal prep and everything of that nature. So, and I still kind of move this way almost, unless someone actually, subscribes to the same diet as me. I rarely eat at, functions, anybody's functions. It will be, I would really be questioning, hey, what's that? What's in there? Hey, who made that? Where was, posing those questions. And so it got to a point where, like I said, it was a few of us, and our aunties, they love their nephews and stuff. So they got to a point where they was, respecting our choice, right? Respecting our choice. It throws off the whole cooking aspect of it a little bit, but they understood and they respected. They would go, my mom included, would, cook me and my brother's food first. She would clean everything, cook me and my brother's meals first, separate our stuff, put our stuff somewhere else, and then cook for the rest of the family that's coming over. And some of my aunts would do that. They would be like, oh, Bobby, Tony, Jay, we got to make sure we put their, food over here. We got to get theirs out the way first. Let's cook theirs first, make sure we clean the grill, and make, things of that nature. And then, I had, some in the family that would be like, well, why are you doing that? I don't understand why y'all changed. Y'all been eating pig all y'all life, and now y'all want to change. And now y'all, and it caused little ruffles, little feathers ruffle with it, For the most part, I just look at it, from whoever, uncle, aunt that was saying it, cousin, whoever, I gave my disposition on it, took my stance, and just stood on it. But it's like, me making this choice does not affect you. That was the overall thing, hell, why should I have to wait to a doctor to tell me to stop eating high sodium items, But I guess, in some cases, some people don't listen to the doctor, as we know, especially from, our culture. We typically are, the last to, listen to, doctors and whatnot. And sometimes for good reasoning, but you do need to listen to your doctor. I'm not gonna sit here and tell nobody, like, don't listen to the doctors. But it, it caused like little, just a small strife, and then it would go on for any other places you go, to a friend's cookout, or somebody else, a friend of a friend cookout, whoever you go, or restaurants, and certain restaurants I'm not gonna go to because of this, and but what I'm getting to was like that feeling of just division, and that's why I mentioned it. It was like a feeling of division, and that's what I kind of see right now. It's like, if in respect just respect someone's choice, you know. Getting back into, you know, the vaccine thing with the, you know, the pros and the antis. I mentioned this in some form in some way, but I just want to, you know, repeat it probably again and just, you know, make it clear. Let's get it a little clearer. What's good for you is good for you. What's good for me is good for me. What's good for him is good for him. What's good for her is good for her. I have no problem respecting anyone's rules and or respecting their space, as I would hope someone would feel the same way for myself. If you are a family member and you are vaccinated and I'm not vaccinated, if you do not want to be around me as being vaccinated, then I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be hurt. I don't know if that's going to make me like, well, because I really want to be around such and such, that let me go ahead and get this vaccine. I can't say that much. But, however, I pretty much prepared myself for that. Like I said, from what I haven't really experienced it so much. You know, for the most part, for those in my family who are vaccinated, those who aren't, we still pretty much rock with each other. You know, the conversation is going to always come up because it's a hot topic. It's a world topic, so it'll always come up. So we're going to always have, you know, well, why you ain't with this? And we'll have those, you know, they go whichever way they go. Some can be extended. Some might just be a little shortchanged. Sometimes probably avoided in some cases. Shoot, I be around family. Some of them have masks, some of them don't have masks. You know, it's we're still, for us, not allowing it to control our love for one another. As the world stands, though, you know, I've seen something with, you know, to a point where you got Border Patrol. It was a video I just seen, and Border Patrol was basically whipping Haitians that were trying to get into the country. That's basically what it was. I mean, you know, somewhere in there they try to say, well, that's not a whip, that's a rein. I've never rode a horse before, like truly rode a horse. Never, you know, used a horse and buggy, and you know. But it's to my understanding that the reins, you know, not only help steer, but they also physically motivate the horse to move faster with, you know, a little bit of pain, or maybe a lot of pain. I don't know what that horse is feeling. But needless to say, they were using reins as whips. And they was doing it. The stance was that, you know, we don't know their status as, you know, whether they're vaccinated, unvaccinated, whether they're positive or whether they're negative, and we're trying to keep them out of the country. And it's Border Patrol, you know, and Border Patrol's job is to, you know, keep illegal people, illegal immigrants, or, you know, out of the country. You know, that's their job. But that scene is just crazy. Like, I mean, it might have been a black Border Patrol person there, and I know there are black folks that work for Border Patrol. There are. But the scene is just, you know, white man on a horse with a, you know, cowboy hat, and you seeing, you know, black men, women, babies coming through this water trying to get up on the shore, and you see in him, you know, got the horse and he that's crazy. That's super crazy. So we can say that that's just how they get down. It really don't matter if it's the, you know, whether they were vaccinated, unvaccinated, they were positive for COVID, or, you know, that knowledge that you can say, like, that was it. And I'm going to go and stick with that for the most part, but I think that was just being used, partially, just to justify, to try to justify their actions. But if so, then that's crazy. I understand that we want to, maintain our borders, and understand that we know, the negative aspects of someone coming to this country from another country. But I just can't sit and say that I'm just going to be like, every immigrant that comes is it could be bad, the potential, No, I'm not going to say that, especially when they look like me, because it's like all the ones that look close to me or somewhat close, like maybe skin tone a little darker, skin tone may be a lighter, accent may, be of a Spanish, a Latino variety, or any other, it just seems like when they speak of immigration, that's who they're talking about, never talking about anybody else, who does not look or is or a minority. But is that the fear? Is that what that is? That's the fear? Like, that was the care, that was the concern. Look at what we're doing for our country. All these Haitians try to come through here, and we defended the soil from possible COVID-19 positive people. Let that sink in. White man on horse back, corralling, illegal immigrants, utilizing the reins that are supposed to be for the horses to deter the men, women, and babies that were possibly seeking asylum, possibly running from, dictatorships, anything, searching for a better life. And the fear of COVID, not only caused them to be, rounded up, gotta use that term, rounded up, wrangled, but to be like beaten. I guess on a good note, they didn't just execute them all right there, so I guess shout out to them for not just instantly killing them, but that's just a horrible scene. What else that I've noticed since, the last video? Oh, yeah, animals can get COVID too. Yeah, animals can get COVID too. Your dog, King, he can get COVID too. That's an old school black dog, man, King. But Muffin can get COVID too. The cat, they can get COVID too. So it's it's a so as to other wildlife, or when I say wildlife, it could include foreign animals, but domestic animals and non-domestic animals as well. Deers, raccoons, and so forth. Birds, I believe. I'm not sure about the bird part. Let me get back with y'all on that one. But cause I want to say, I think they said it's like mammals. So possibly the birds may get it. Mosquitoes may get it. Flies may get it. And then we're in a world of trouble if those last three, definitely get it, because, But anyway, the animals can get it. So I understand, we're not going to be, interacting with deers and raccoons and squirrels, often like that. We might see them run across our path or whatnot. But they're a large population, and, they too can have COVID. They will remain unvaccinated, right? Just wondering, do you take your dog to the vet just to, make sure they got COVID, and how often? When would you think to take your dog or your cat to the vet? to see if they're positive for COVID? Do you wait till your dog has a sneeze, cat sneeze? Now they have sinuses as well. You know, they have the sinus system, so they can get into something that can cause them to sneeze. But do you, the first time, you know, Rover sneezes and you, oh wait, you gotta get into the vet, baby. You gotta get into the vet. That's a quick question, you know, if you, especially if you let your dog out and, you know, and you walk them, you know, dogs stop and sniff everything. You know, walking them, he gonna sniff where the other dog at, and, you know, something similar to us, you know, always wiping down, you know, surfaces and stuff. And he might sniff some COVID, so. I don't know if they got a vaccine for, you know, for pup. I'm not sure. Or meow. I'm not sure if they got a vaccine. But that was just kind of weird. It was just interesting to me, like, whoa, this stuff is crazy. This COVID is really moving, you know. You got the Delta variant, you know. Oddly enough, I want to say that might have been, I can't remember which one it was, but I've been mentioning that though. I've been mentioning that, you know, at the time they were talking about super COVID. It wasn't titled Delta at the time. The Delta name, I'm not sure when the hell the Delta name came, but I know about at least about a year ago, they were talking about super COVID. It was overseas and things of that nature. And that it was potentially come to the US. Here we are, Delta. Of course, there are other variants that, you know, you read about that's possible and that's possibly on its way. And, you know, then you get to understanding with the vaccine was for the first one. And then now I was trying to see, you know, what's the efficacy rate for the Delta variant. And, you know, a lot of numbers, a lot of information is being passed out there. And, you know, I'm not going to skew anything, you know, because that's not my position, you know, how it works is how it works. You know, they explain it to you. They say that, you know, if you're vaccinated, you're less likely to die or be hospitalized. However, it's not 100% true, you know, just believe like that will happen, but like I say, less likely. So that's why the term less likely. You know, than a person who's unvaccinated. So they don't really offer those numbers up. And that's something I don't like. You know, as far as just social parts, the media. They'll tell you everybody that died is unvaccinated, but never mention who died from, say, who were previously vaccinated. So things like that kind of bother me. Things like that definitely bother me, you know. I'm always a firm believer that there are always more than one side to a story. You know, say two sides, some people say three sides, you know, his side, her side, and the real side, however you want to word it. But never mention those. And it's like, I feel that we the people should know that. Now, do you not mention it because of what your ultimate agenda is to make sure that everyone gets it? You don't want to never scare no one away from anything, right? But then it's the pro-choice part aspect of it. That's the thing that, you know, kind of just makes me, wow. I'm not gonna mention that, but I digress. The information's out there. The problem is, you know, once you speak in a position of being anti, everything you say is discounted. None of it counts. You are absolutely wrong. 100% wrong. It's like, wow. And you can have information from, you know, hey, well, this doctor says this doctor says that, you know. And I understand that not too many doctors are going to speak on it, but then you wonder why not too many doctors speak on it, you know. I get it, you know. funny they came out with this movie, I forget the title, but talking about how oxycodone was brought onto the market and how it was pushed. And of course, I'm quite sure, it could be some, artistic creativity that was given in the movie. Maybe some things might have been exaggerated. Some things may not have went all the way. But it just makes you wonder, how the medical professions, medical professionals handle these situations, the power, the strength, the knowledge they have to guide people. I always ask this question, this is way before COVID. And it's more not necessarily a question, it's just like it's a question / statement. I'm not sure what all it takes to pass, and get your medical degree and become a doctor. I don't know what all that entails. I will never know, really. I can look it up and then say, oh, okay, you gotta, but in general, I'll never know. I'll never know what it takes, I'll never know what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. But I will always say, like, how do you know, or do we know, if, just to simplify, how do you know if your doctor was the D+, C+ doctor, or if your doctor was the B+, A+ doctor, the straight A doctor, the straight C's doctor? How do you know that? How do we know that? How can we ever find that out? But how do we know whether, your doctor was the go-getter, the one who really, was, hitting the books? He was really, or she was grinding, she was on there. How do we know that? How do we know? How do we know that our doctor wasn't the party animal who, just knew how to take tests pretty well, or was good at able to, copy somehow. I don't know how those classes go. If they got you locked in the booth by yourself where you can't copy it or nothing, I don't know. But how do you know though? Like, what's the final score? Anybody, tell me, if you know, what's the lowest score that you can score on your finals, to be a doctor? But more so importantly, what is the doctor's moral base? What's your doctor's moral base? And, that's for any and everywhere. Many things you can deal with. From your pastor, teachers, co-workers, supervisor, the moral basis of the individual. So, circling back around, there's so many things out there, and I try my best to not, I always like to present myself, neutral in a lot of situations, and give a little bit of how much I feel about them, give parts of it, like, i.e., I'm not getting the vaccine at the moment. And he said, at the moment? Yeah, at the moment. Whatever, just nothing for me at this moment says, hey, you need to get that. And people be like, what? People dying. Yes, they are. And, RIP to those who have passed from this disease, or from this virus rather. Blessings and strength to their family members. But as I stand, still where I'm at, unvaccinated. Not to say that anything, that nothing can change it. As I stand, it's like nothing would change it. But it's like I'm not, just. I understand that there are things that probably can. There are things that can happen in this life that could, change my stance. Hell, I could fall into the category of being offered the right thing, maybe, you know, and it's like, I never knew this thing would exist. But you found the one thing that you could offer me, and I take it. Or, you know, might be, you know, backed into a corner some type of way. And Rob, you gonna get the vaccine? No. What's it gonna take to get the vaccine? I don't know. What will they have to take from you to get the vaccine? I don't know. What do they have to give you to take the vaccine? I don't know. What I do know is, if there ever come a time where I change my stance and decide to get vaccinated, I'm going to get the Johnson & Johnson. Yes. If I ever decide to get vaccinated, there won't be no Moderna, no Pfizer, none of the other foreign ones, which they say, oh, this one works, this one has a high efficacy, and nah, don't give me that Johnson & Johnson, bro. That's the one I want to take. That being said, Humble City Real, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you dislike the video, leave comments. Which one you gonna take if you're planning on taking it. And if you get to the point where I'm talking about, like where it's a point where you say, oh, this might happen, which one are you gonna take? I know people probably looking funny and like, is he being funny? Talking about Johnson & Johnson? Dead serious. That's the one I'll take. Humble City Real, thank y'all for watching. Holla at y'all later.